Hey y'all, it's Jasmine, and today we are slowing it down and tapping into deep relaxation. With this restorative flow, it will comprise of no more than 5 moves. Restorative yoga is hatha yoga, and unlike vinyasa yoga, typically what you see here on my channel, we'll sit with these poses for about 5 minutes each with supported props. So let's get ready for some deep relaxation and gentle breathing. Before we get started, I will go over a couple of the different props that I have today and how I'll utilize them in today's practice. So let's get started. I'm actually sitting on one of them right now. We will be using a bolster here. If you do not have a bolster, you can also use a pillow that you may have in your room, either like a elongated pillow or just a pillow that you have that's a little fluffy. I also have 2 blankets with me. They are blankets that I typically use on the couch, but I also incorporate them into my yoga practice. So we will be using 2 blankets and then also this bolster. Feel free also to grab some blocks if you want to kind of build up your restorative flow. Restorative is meant for us to kind of sit with these poses and really help us tap into that deep relaxation. So I really would like for you to find whatever's comfortable for you with these poses. And then also pay attention to your body. If it is uncomfortable, I will always advise you to just go back to our first pose that we're going to learn, which is our basic relaxation pose. So if there's something you're like, "Ooh, child, this don't feel right," please tap into that first pose that we'll show. I'll try to talk through some modifications while we are in some of the restorative poses. But again, if it does not feel comfortable for you, I'm going to make sure that this practice is yummy for you regardless. I know it's going to be yummy for me because today is raining and the rain, the relaxation, the quietness in my house. I'm just going to eat it all up. So let's get started with our first pose, which is our basic relaxation pose. And I almost forgot, throughout the practice, I will encourage us all to utilize this balanced breathing. So it's just going to inhale for 4, exhale for 4. And throughout the different poses, I'm going to encourage you to do about 6 to 8 rounds and then return to our natural breathing. So let's get started. So we're going to begin with our basic relaxation pose. So this, think of child's pose if you're typically at a practice and or you're practicing out in the community, not in your home practice, or even in your home practice, and you want to return to a pose that's like comfortable for you. This basic relaxation pose is going to be your girl. So I'm going to get myself ready. I'm going to take one of the blankets here, and this will go to the lower edge of the mat here. And this is where my ankle or kind of my feet will be placed this way. And then I'm going to take the bolster here. That's going to be kind of in the middle. And then I'm going to have my blanket here. So as I straddle, because I'm going to Cowboy Carter later this month, as I straddle this bolster, this is where my ankles will be. This is where my knees will rest. And then this is where my head will rest. I will also let you know that I am short. So the distance for you may look a little different, but visually, I wanted to show you kind of feet, knees, body, and then your neck here. So let's begin with sitting down here with your knees resting over the bolster. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to get real comfortable. It may feel real crazy to you, which is fine. If it don't, good for you. I'm happy because I don't look crazy either. So here we're going to rest our knees over the bolster, and then our ankles, feet will rest here. And then you may have to adjust a little, but that is okay. And so I'm gonna, ooh, girl, I'm on a roll. We're gonna place the blanket underneath the curve of our neck here. So we're gonna place the blanket here, and then you're gonna see me be like a ninja and kind of move this so I can get comfortable. So here, I'm finally in a position where I am feeling all right. And so again, my knees are resting over the bolster. And then I also have my ankles resting on this blanket here. I can move it down a little bit. I feel it. And then my arms are resting out as if I am in Shavasana. And again, the blanket under my neck is going to support the curve of my neck. So my chin should not touch my chest here. It should be more like a natural curvation in your spine. So as you get settled, begin to just sit with your breath. Maybe breathe in a little funky just because you've gotten into a space. Feel free to close your eyes if not, a soft gaze work as well. And we're just going to sit here in this pose and just pay attention to your breath. Nothing has to change, just taking note of it. And as mentioned earlier, we're going to sit in these poses for about 5 minutes each. So, if there's some discomfort that you may feel for sitting in silence, I just want to encourage you to sit with that silence, and as thoughts come up, make a mental note, but let them come and go, your thoughts, and sit here in the state of deep relaxation. So, I'm going to check in with my breath and then begin the balanced breathing. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Repeat. And then you're going to do this on your own for about 6 to 8 rounds. And then I'll just come in and remind you to return to your normal breath. And return to your normal breath. Noticing the natural rhythm as we sit in our basic relaxation pose. And if you have your eyes closed, begin to open them softly as we prepare for the second pose. So I'm just going to remove the bolster from underneath my knee here. And so I'm just going to bring my feet flat on the ground and reach down just to slide it from underneath me. And then turn over to my right side here and push myself up. Our second move is simple supported side bend here. And I'm going to show you how to get into that pose, and then we will sit in the pose. With this pose, we're going to do it both on our right and left side, probably about 3 to 4 minutes each. So let's get started. So here with our bolster and blankets here, and feel free to kind of get comfortable and move things around. But both blankets will come to the top of your mat. So we're going to have the bolster here resting kind of towards our right hip. And we're going to lay on our right side on the bolster with our right arm resting between the bolster and the two pillows here. So get comfortable. And you want to make sure that pillow or your bolster is resting on kind of right above your right hip. And then we're going to lay our head down on the pillows here. You can bring them up a little if you like, or you can just let your head lie on the pillows, whichever feels comfortable for you. And your right arm is going to be extended. Now, a couple of options for your left arm. You can rest it here on your stomach in front of you, resting your hand on the bolster, or you can rest it on your hips. Third option will be taking your left arm and bringing it over your left ear here, lengthening your side body a little bit longer. So, a couple of different options for you. And I really like this feel of lengthening my side body. And always will encourage everyone to find what's most comfortable for you. And to know that I'm encouraging stillness, know that you have all the freedom to move any way that you like or bouncing in between options. Because I know for me, I'm going to eventually rest my left hand on my bolster here. Let's tap into our balance breathing. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4, and repeat. And we're going to repeat that for about 6 to 8 rounds and then return to your normal breathing here. And I'm just going to take my left arm and rest it on my bolster now. Return to your normal breathing if you haven't already. And sit with this pose, our simple supported side bend. Begin to slowly open your eyes and using your left hand to push you up. And we're going to repeat our simple supported side bend on our opposite side here. So our pillows and bolsters are kind of in is already correct positions. We're just going to turn our body the opposite way. So whatever way that you're facing, we're just going to head over to our opposite side. And here, whether I'm going to have now my left side resting on the bolster here, my left hips, and then I'm just going to begin to lay down again and fixing it, adjusting it. My left arm is now in between the bolster and the blankets, and then I'm going to rest my head on the blankets here. And again, you have a couple of different options for your arm. You can have it laying on the bolster or resting on the bolster, resting on your hips, or taking it over your head here to lengthen your spine. So find the best option for you and to know that if you like to change within this pose, you have all the freedom to do so. Just getting comfortable here. I like to start with my arms lifted over just to get that nice stretch. If you haven't already, begin to tap into our balanced breathing. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4, repeat. And then you're going to repeat this for about 6 to 8 more rounds and then return to your natural breathing rhythm. Return to your normal breathing if you haven't done so as we sit in our simple supported side bend pose here. Begin to open your eyes if you have them closed. As we exit out of this pose here, I'm going to take my right arm and push me up and just move my bolster here. And so our third pose is heart pose. So if you remember last week, I was all about heart openers. And with this restorative yoga pose, it is the same feeling. We're going to have our heart open, encouraging some vulnerability and a little bit of confidence in this pose. So feel free to use your blankets if you like to cover yourself, but you will not need to use them. If you like, you could place them under your ankles if you like to, but if not, you can move them off to the side. So we're going to take our bolster here and we're going to lay it vertical on the actual mat here. And then we're going to sit with our legs straight out here in a seated pose. And then we're going to have the bolster to our base of our spine or the back here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to bend your knees a little and you're going to lay back here. Feel free if you like to have your knees bent or you can have them straight here. And then if you want to bring the base of the bolster a little bit down, just push yourself up and move it a little bit closer to the base of your spine here. I'm actually going to take my other blanket and use both of them as little areas to rest my arm here as I sit in this heart opening pose. But you could also use your blankets and place them underneath your legs if you like. If this feels very restricted here, you can move the base of this pose a little upward away from your hips to create a little bit of less resistance or less intensity here. As I sit in this pose, heart open, letting it all go. I'm going to tap back into my balanced breathing here. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Repeat. And then practice about 6 to 8 rounds on your own here. And then we'll return to our normal breath. Return to your normal breath as we sit in heart pose. And think of melting in the mat with this pose. Noticing any area that may be tight and paying special attention to it, bringing awareness to it, and just loosening it up just a little bit with each breath. begin to open your eyes as we move into our fourth pose or prep, really, for our fourth pose. I'm so comfortable and relaxed. I'm just like, yeah, we'll do whatever. To get out of this pose, you can bend your knees and then you can hold on to the bolster or hold on to your mat here and then lift yourself up, whichever works for you. And on our fourth pose here for restorative yoga, we will do a reclining butterfly that is supported with a bolster. So, how that will look is we will have a blanket here, and this will rest under our neck. Our bolster will come to the bottom of our mat here. So, very similar to the first pose that we had earlier today. So, with this pose, and what makes it just a little bit different is that your palms of your feet will touch. It is a butterfly pose. And then with this pose here, as I'm trying to get comfortable, your feet will touch and then your outer shins will rest on the bolster here. So I'm going to lay back a little and get comfortable. So the pillow will rest on your natural curve pillow. Your blanket will rest on the natural curve of your body here. And then you're going to have your feet to touch. You can have that second blanket down here for your ankles as they're rested in the butterfly pose, and then your shins will be rested, your outer shins will be rested on the bolster here. And if this feels again pretty tight, you can just move your hips. You can move the bolster a little bit lower down. So I'm going to move it on down. And then you can have your feet touching here and then your shins resting. So that's an option. I'm just going to move mine up just a little. That's where it feels right for me. Move it just a little. And then we're settling into our reclining butterfly pose with a supported bolster here. And we will tap into our balance breathing here. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Repeat. And you're going to repeat probably about another 6 to 8 rounds on your own before returning to natural breath here. And in this pose, feel free really to do what you like with your arms. You can have them laying out to the side, underneath your head here, kind of relaxing. Really, the focus of this pose is that the palms of your feet are touching and you're giving your hips, you're opening your hips a little. So, really just sitting in this pose, kind of feel like a little frog on a lily pad. Return to normal breathing. Adjust your body if need to. If your feet have stopped touching one another, that's fine. As long as we have this kind of diamond shape, giving our hips that space to open up. Feel free to open your eyes if they've been closed. And we're just going to move back into our original basic relaxation pose, which you would just straighten your legs out, and you may have to adjust the bolster just a little bit to ensure that your knees are over the bolster here. As we close out on our practice today, if this is your first time trying restorative yoga, I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, that is actually pretty normal. Again, sometimes it's very difficult for us to just sit with ourselves and not expect anything. We always expect something these days, and it's really nice just to kind of sit and settle into this deep relaxation. And when you pair it with gentle breathing, meditation, it really just sums up what restorative practice is. Just a really nice place for you to kind of reset, recharge, and give yourself a break to relax and be. So I'm going to allow us to sit in this pose for a little bit before we close out and give ourselves one more chance to do our balance breathing and then just sit here. Feel free to open your eyes, wiggle your toes, your fingers, bring yourself back. You can move your head side to side, really just to wake your body up. And take your deepest breath of today. You can bend your knees and slide your bolster from underneath you and roll over to your side here, pushing yourself up. I'd like to thank you for joining me in today's practice. We slowed it down a bit and we set in poses and we sit with our breath. I really hope you come back to this practice whenever you want a chance of just some deep relaxation, some meditation, and some gentle breathing. Until next time, bye. Yay! We're relaxed. Even my watch.